It's Dereka with Dereka's Designs, and today we're making this adorable little Valentine skunk. Now, what is cuter for Valentine's Day than a sweet little skunk? So honestly, you can make the cute little skunk holding anything, right? I forgot, I was gonna put little red bow on its ear. I completely forgot before I finished this off, but you could add, obviously add a little cute little bow on the ear, or if you wanna make it a girl, if you want to make it a boy, you can leave it like it is, but he's just super cute and super fun. So I thought he would look just the cutest little face inside of your wreaths, right? So of course this is a no-sew attachment. So we have lots of pieces of foam board, and on those pieces of foam board we have added quilt batting. There's lots of pieces, right? You have 2 hands, 2 feet, a little nose and a little snout, and then of course the main body pieces. So it's a lot, but you can see I have put quilt batting on portions of these. Now on the pattern, there could be, or sometimes there's not. It just really depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes there's a little dotted line. That doesn't mean to cut. It just means you only want, think about it, if you have a base piece like this, if this is going to be glued to the underside, you don't really want quilt batting on that piece right there, right? So, especially like this part up here, the head is going to have to glue onto that. Don't really want a bunch of quilt batting underneath it. You can. Like I said, it's not going to take away from the cuteness of your item, but it will make things just a little, you know, they'll just wiggle a little bit because there's that layer of the quilt batting between the foam board and the foam board of the base. And you're just not going to get like that good solid, you know, it's just going to, they're just going to wiggle a little bit. Like you're going to be able to take them and wiggle them. They're not going to fall off. It's not detrimental. It's just the way I like to do it. But if you want to add quilt batting to the entire piece, then add it to the entire piece. I mean, it's not a game changer. You're just going to hear me talk about it a lot. If I'm going to glue the back of this head, once I put the fabric on, of course, to this piece right here, I want to glue paper onto paper, not necessarily paper onto fabric. So purely not, again, totally up to you. I prefer that method, but you don't have to. So we have a lot of pieces to cover. So when I am making a wreath attachment, I always start by covering everything. So I'm going to just kind of put out all the pieces here and what they go on. So I can kind of keep it straight. You don't want to mix anything. Now, very important, you have a right and a left foot. You don't want to mix those up because they definitely have, you can see the toes kind of jut out a little further on this side, and this is more like the heel right here. So you just want to line up your fabric to go with that. The little snoot goes right there. That is the belly. And those are the ears. And you have a right, no we don't. So I glued the quilt batting on the wrong side, so I'm just going to take it off. You should have a right and a left hand, I guess. So if you have one going this way, you need one going this way. Think of the small part as the thumbs, if that's easier. So we're going to just put some quilt batting on that side. So now we have a right and a left. You see how I did that? I just drizzled some hot glue on there. You don't need a lot, right? You don't need a lot. Okay, so we'll start with our bigger pieces here. Like this is the main body, and you can see this might have had a dotted line on it, and that's just because I'm going to glue this down where this paper right here is still showing, okay? Put it this way, you want to make sure you have a good 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch all the way around. But first what I want to do is I'm going to put some glue right there, right across where the quilt batting is. And I'm going to set this on here right in the center. But I want this piece right here to be glued down. Okay? And you have to make sure it's centered and you have that 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch all the way around. But you want this to be glued down right here. That way, again, when you go to glue this on here, you have a nice solid surface. It's not it doesn't have fabric under it. It doesn't have all the quilt batting under it. Once you get that in place, then you just go around and you just grab your pieces and you just kind of fold them over, hold them for just a second, let it cool for just a second, go all the way down, just keep moving all the way around. And again, I just hold it. I use my left hand to kind of hold things as I pull it with my right fingers. I use my left hand to just kind of hold it. Just keep working it. You don't need big globs of glue. Hopefully you're not using a full-size glue gun. If you are, only squeeze that trigger halfway. You do not need all of that glue to have fabric hold to paper. You know, this felt, you don't need a lot of glue. So I highly recommend a detail tip glue gun if you can afford one. If you plan to make more attachments in the future, it's a great investment. And what it is the detail tip is 1/2 big around as the regular glue gun tip. So whereas a regular glue gun tip, you get a nice heavy bead of glue. The detail, you get 1/2 of that size. So you have far less chances of putting too much glue on and certainly burning your fingers, because when you're making attachments, your fingers are all up in it. There's no way to make it where you're not touching. Whereas if you're putting florals in a wreath, you're not actually touching that hot glue. You're just squeezing that handle and glopping it in the grapevine or whatever. But for this kind of project, you definitely want your not to use as much glue so that it doesn't eke out and get your fingers, okay? There's just no way to do that with a very hot, very full-size glue gun. It's just too much glue, way too much glue. So anyway, about $10. I saw them at Hobby Lobby. It's a Surebonder, the lime green and black detail tip glue gun, okay? $10 to $15. Well, I think they're about $10, but the one at Hobby Lobby came with glue sticks. So the one that I saw, and I think it was about $15. Not sure why it comes with glue sticks, but you know, I bought mine at Walmart before. It did not come with glue sticks. It was under $10. I think it was 8 something. So I don't know if they still have them, but I would definitely put it on your shopping list, and next time you go, just kind of check. Because if you don't have a detail tip, you're gonna be struggling. And definitely, please, and I hear people say all the time how much they love their Ryobis and they love their industrial glue guns that they got from Deco Exchange and all that. Those are fantastic for wreath making, but they are not for attachment making, okay? That Ryobi will take off every layer of skin you have. Don't use that. You can't help but get hot glue on your fingers when you're making attachments. It's just part of the whole process of this. You can't not get glue on your fingers. So even though this is a high temp, it puts out such a small amount of glue that you're not singeing your fingers, right? Unless you just like put the glue right on your hand, you're not singeing yourself. Very important. Very, very important, okay? So to all my fellow attachment makers out there, please make, or if you're wanting to become one, you'll need the tools. And that is the one tool I highly recommend. Okay, so this piece here, again, this whole section here is going to go up under the body and the head of the skunk. So we don't want to, if we put it out here to leave our 1/2 inch, we're hanging off over on this side, right? We have nothing over here. We're not, but we don't want that. We want this to be like this. This whole section here on the other side, of course, is going to be glued up under. It does not matter. If you're letting some paper show right here, okay? Sorry, I was in the middle of a thought right there. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the body piece. I'm going to put a line of glue. I'm going to bring this down right onto that line. It doesn't have to be all the way. It can be all the way to the edge if you want it. Just as long as you're gluing this whole piece down right here. Now, the reason I put it this way first is because I wanted to make sure I had my 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch all the way around. Then I flipped it over and then I glued it right there so that when I flip it over again, I still have that 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Now we just go and cover it. Hold it for a second. We're going to keep gluing all the way around. Make sure you're tugging on the felt just a little bit. You don't want it to bunch up at any of these areas. Now this area here, and see, I'm trying to pull this and I can't because over here. Now this is a big curve. Oh, we have pieces that are just not wanting to stick here. Hold on. Sorry, little side note there. What we do when we have it where it's just not going to pull because, you know, the fabric can only go so many different directions. We're going to put in a little slit. Like when we do, all I did was I made a little tab right there. Can you see the little tab? I just made a little tab. I didn't cut all the way to the foam board though, because I don't want to see those white triangles. But what I'm going to do, by cutting a little tab or a slit into it, what you're doing is allowing the fabric to go into 3 different directions. So we have our tab piece that's going to hold everything in place. And you see how far that pulled apart? That just shows you how far you had to go to make this fabric pull nice and taut across the back of this foam board. You don't want it bunched up, and you certainly don't want it having big gaping holes anywhere. So you can tell by the gaps on this side, you can tell how far it had to pull apart. And that is why I cut those in there. If ever you're going along with your fabric and you can't get that fabric to pull, or if you pull it from this side, it won't pull on this side, then cut those slits into it. It's usually on the big curves or the corners, the, you know, square, like something like this, because it's just a little divot here, is not going to require a slit cut into it. But something as big as this did require it. So we're just finishing gluing all this down. So there we go. Okay, we are working through all of our pieces. All right, so remember this one, we have 2 little hands, and each of them has the little pot spot here. Think of that as the thumb. They look like little beans, little lima beans or something, but I'm trying to get the glue off of me. So when I have a little curve like this one, like I showed in the other one, that's where I want to start. And I like to hold it in my hand. And I put some glue on the fabric, and I take my finger and I just fold it into that. That way I can use my fingers to kind of go in and make sure that we've got a nice little curve. And then I'll put it down and work the rest of it. And when you're working with little pieces like this, you just have to be patient with them. Just pull them, kind of round them. You're going to have bunches of fabric around these edges. Just kind of use your fingernails to kind of, you know, make them all so they don't bunch up and pull away. So that's, I recommend on the small pieces to glue the fabric, put the glue on directly on the fabric rather than on the foam board. because just like I just did there, I didn't quite have enough to pull around, and it just opened right back up again. So put it on the fabric like this. And I like to, when I have a nice curved area like this, I just like to take my finger and just kind of roll it around on it like that. So this is why you don't want a big hot full-size glue gun, because like I said, your fingers are all up in this. There's no way to make these attachments without getting your fingers up in them. It's just part of it. So I know I had one person, she went to make an attachment, and she messaged me saying that it's just not her thing and she was not going to stay in the subscription group. And I thought, that's fine. I mean, it's not your thing. And come to find out, it's because she's burned herself constantly. I said, honey, I mean, you can't use a full-size big old glue gun. I don't care how much money you paid for it. You know, pay the $10 and get the little detail gun, and I promise you're going to have a much better outcome. But I hated that she had to quit making attachments just because of her glue gun. You know, sometimes if you only want to make one or two and then you're done with it, it's not your thing, then absolutely don't make the investment. But if this is something you want to make one every month, or you want to make 20 every month, or 100 every month, buy the tools. Buy the tools that will help you. And see how I just I curled it over with my finger, and then I just used my thumbs to really hold it into place. Sometimes you really have to get all up in there. I'll get that off because it's too big. So there. So we have, I hate black felt and hot glue, I'm telling you. All right. So now the same thing we did with this piece and the body piece where we left that piece of, we're going to do the same thing with the feet, because the feet have to be glued up underneath here also. So I'm going to put a line of glue. Now this one I don't need to turn over. I can kind of eyeball when this gets centered here. As long as I flip it over and I still have that, you know, 1/2 inch all the way around, I'm happy with it. So, and I'm leaving all of that exposed right there. It's fine. Same thing with this one. We're just going to place it on there so that we can, so that way when we go to glue this up to the underside, we have kind of a flat area to work with. Okay, that's the whole method to that. That's the why. Okay, again, I'm gluing the fabric directly on these super small pieces. It's just easier. It allows the fabric to glue onto the side and to the top and to all those areas. You just have a better chance of it sticking and staying. You know, with the bigger pieces, we can make much more. You can have a whole inch overhang to glue. But with these little pieces, if we had an inch of fabric back here, it would be really hard to get them all bunched up around these little tiny little curves. So that is why you only do about 1/2 inch on these little pieces. And if you have too much fabric back here, it's just a giant wadded, bunchy mess, and it's really hard to get everything to lay nice and smooth. You want, when you turn it around, look at the front, you want it to be nice and smooth all the way around. No lumps, no bumps, no creases in the fabric, that sort of thing. So just get it all the way. The glue strings, they're getting me, they're coming for me. Okay, so there. So we have the 2 feet, and you can kind of see the little toe area kind of sticks out a little bit further. They're just slightly different. They're not, there's not a lot of difference in them, but just slightly. All right, so I'm gonna clear off my hands here. All right, so let's do this piece. This is the nose, the snout, whatever. I don't know what you call this part of an animal. Okay, so because we have this little V right here, I'm going to pull that one first. I'm going to put some glue all the way up in there. I had a little bit on the back side. And I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to pull it into there, okay? I'm just working on this little, I want this little V to be visible. I don't want it to just make a big circle. So I'm using my finger to push it up inside of that so we have a good triangle there, like that. And now I will just go all the way around again, gluing onto the fabric, and then just kind of using my finger to put it over, and then I use my thumbs to really hold it down. I know I go really fast, and sometimes people say, oh my gosh, you go so fast, I don't know how you do it, but once you get the hang of this, it becomes second nature. And don't go as fast as me though when you're first starting. Just you know, do a little bit at a time, whatever you're comfortable with. There's no race, there's no time frame, right? So I just don't want to make this video take, you know, 20 minutes longer than it has to. So you can always pause, right? You can always pause if there's something and go back and rewatch it if I went just way too fast on something. And this is a little nose. Again, we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. This is the smallest piece, but again, we're just going to set that right in the middle, and I'm going to glue onto the fabric, onto the felt, and then just pull it up and just kind of push it over like that. Make sure that cools off before you really move on to the next spot. These little pieces, it's just so much easier for me to do it in my hand than it is for me to do on the table. So I apologize if this is not something you're comfortable with, but for me, trying to do this on the table, well, one, I can't, my head would be right in the middle of the camera because I'd have to be, you know, way up there looking at it. So for me, it's just easier this way. But do however you're comfortable with. My fingers, smush it in there. Get my thumbs in there. Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's see. Now we have these cute little ears, and the ears are just kind of basic. They're not, you know, we're just going to glue this little white part to the center of these, like that. They're cute. Everything black and white in wreaths, you know, pops out. It's just, you can really see it so well. So even with all the ribbon and deco mesh and all the things that are clustering up your project, you can really see the white, which is, I think the black and the white really complement a wreath. Okay, so I'm going to put on I'm going to glue on his little belly piece. I put it right where I want it here. That. Put that part on, flip it around, and glue the other side. I'm not going crazy with the glue. I don't even have the trigger a quarter pushed. I'm just, you know, light felt on felt. Oops, you don't need a whole lot of glue on there. So there we go. Now you want to get out your clamps if you have them, or something to hold your pieces together. Okay. So let's see. We'll put the feet on first so we can work on the rest of the body here. The tail I'm going to put on last because it's so bulky. It's kind of, it'll be right in the way. But see, now what you want to do is the heels of the feet should really almost touch, like almost touch. You don't want them out like this, because then that will be in the way of the tail. Okay, so you want yours to be, I always line up my piece using the grid on my table, so I can see that this part up here is nice and straight. So that would mean that this is close to my center right here. Right there. So that's pretty good for the little feet, right? So then I lift this up. I'm going to put glue right here on this edge, like that. Lift this up again and set it right on top of there. I'll hold it for just a second. We want to let it cool for just a minute before we clamp it, because if we try to pick it up now, the feet will probably just fall off. So just holding it. Clamp. The side is already wanting to fall off. Clamp. There we go. Hold those on there just like that. All right, so let's get our cute little face, and we can work, while that's cooling, we can work on our face. So we want, oh no, here, where did I do with that? I think I lost a piece. I lost my pink. Hold on, I have some pink felt over here. I'll go grab a piece. Felt sticks to everything, so if suddenly a piece of felt just disappears, don't be surprised. So it's like Velcro. All right, so we want to make the little tongue, or whatever you want to call. I don't know what you call it. It's not really a tongue. It's just his little mouth down here. I don't have the pattern piece, so I'm just going to wing it kind of the size that I want it to be. So that's going to, yeah, that's perfect, just like that. So we're going to put a line of glue right over the edge. And we're going to take this and we're just going to set it right on there, okay? That's all you need. You don't need to do anything else. And then we're going to take our cute little nose. Now, listen, this is part, I don't have any white left. On this little guy, I made this cute little thing across the top of his nose. I don't know what you want to call that. That is optional. You absolutely don't have to do that. And I don't have that in the pattern because it's such a small piece. I honestly don't even know how you would do that. I don't have any white. I thought I had a piece of white felt. Sometimes I just have scraps of things everywhere. So let me check my drawers. Not those drawers, these drawers. Oh, you know what? I have some white foam sheet. I can kind of show you on the foam sheet, just to give you an idea. Again, 100% optional. This is that little thing across the nose is it's just like a glare. I don't honestly, I don't even know. So what I do is I just take, if this was white felt, I would just cut like a curve, and then I would kind of round out one end, and then I would go back around until I made it as long as I wanted it to, and then I would just cut that into with felt. It's a little bit easier. There we go. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. And like I said, it's not in the pattern because, but then you just glue it right across the top of the nose right there. And it just, it looks to be a glue. I'm not going to put this on because I don't really like the foam sheet look of it. But you can kind of tell what I did to put that little glare on the top of the nose. Well, maybe I will put it on. It's not as bad as I thought it was. Just straighten out this top part a little bit. There we go. We'll put it on. I mean, it certainly can't hurt, right? If I can get it. It's so small though. So you saw how I did that. I just kind of make it curved, rounded at one end, and then going into a little bit of a point at the other end. Just like, oops, just like that. It just gives the illusion of a glare on the glossy, you know, sloppy, wet kiss kind of nose. All right. So then with this, we want to glue onto the top. Now the top of this, I'm not going to glue it all the way on it like that, okay? It's going to hang over the top up there, just like that. So I'm not going to put glue on the top of this because it's not going to stick to anything. So I'm only going to put glue right along this bottom and then across the middle. And that's it. I'm not putting any glue up at the top, okay? You take your little nose and set it right in there, just like that. All right, I have another clamp here. I'm gonna clamp that. Okay, so these are good now. All right, oops, I almost forgot, we need to make our little heart too. So while this is clamped, we'll finish that in just a second. But we have the cutout of the heart and a little piece of red glitter foam. And we're going to put some glue on it. Just going to set right there. All right. So because we have this here, it's going to have to pull in 2 different directions. So I'm going to put a slit in there. Again, we're just going to, now if you want to dress up this heart and put some trim around it or something cute, you absolutely can. With the kit, we just did a little sticker, but you can make this little heart however you want. And as we talked about in the beginning of this, it doesn't even have to be Valentine's Day. It's a skunk. I feel like you could do an Easter skunk, maybe holding an Easter egg, or a St. Patrick's Day skunk holding a shamrock, or listen, you can make it any season you want. A Christmas skunk, you know, he doesn't even have to really be holding anything. It's just, it's cute. When I think of little skunks, I always think of those little paper Valentines that we used to give out when we were little kids. I don't know if they still do that anymore in schools, but everybody would have a brown paper bag with their name on it, like taped to the back of their chair. And then everyone in the class would go and buy the package of Valentines, you know, from the drugstore, and write someone's name on each one and sign them. And then you would just deliver them to each person's little paper bag. I don't know. That's the way we did it in school. But it just seems like for Valentine's Day, there were always deer, baby deer, and skunks, and just all little cute little things, little raccoons and all that. So that's just, when I think of a skunk, I always think of Valentine's Day. I don't know why. Because, you know, and then you have the classic love stinks, you know, that people want to put on everything. Yes, love stinks. Yeah. Or there's just, I don't know. For me, skunks. And I love the black and white too, though. I mean, that to me, that's important because it does really stand out in a wreath. And this is just a little sticker, guys. I don't even know where we got these, but I have a whole bin full of them. Just a little pink sticker with a gemstone. If I had to guess, I would say these probably came from Dollar Tree. Just looking at the quality of them, they look like a Dollar Tree item. But it doesn't matter. Now you could put little lace around it. You could put little trim. You could do whatever you want with that. But, you know. So now we're going to go ahead and let's get our little snoot attached first. And you kind of just want these bottom parts of the cheeks to line up with the bottom part of the face part, okay? And you don't want it to hang over because that looks kind of, that's like a walrus kind of. And you don't want it too high. You just like right there. So There is a place. When you see it, put it wherever you want it, but don't have the tongue hanging off the bottom, okay? As long as the tongue is glued to the bottom part of this, because I'm going to put glue on this tongue. I'm going to put glue all the way around. And just make sure the glue is hitting something like that. Just like that. Oof. Right on my finger. Yikes. See what I mean? If I had a big full-size glue gun, that would have hurt a whole lot worse. But because it's my little glue gun, I didn't really even feel it. And that my fingers are Teflon. So that makes a big difference because I've been doing this so long. So we swear, my fingers are just pure Teflon. They don't, nothing sticks to them. They are, there's no hot, no heat. So just like that, cute little face, right? Let's do the eyes. Now these are the vinyl eyes that we make here at Dereka's Designs. We design them, we print them, and we sell them. So if you are interested in purchasing more of these eyes, say you want to make more of these or any of the eyes, you honestly look through our files. We have 40 or 50 different eye files on derekasdesigns.com. You might like a different type of eye on this guy. This may not be your favorite eye for him. We have so many, and they literally all will work. I believe this one is called Blue 2, because we have so many blue ones, you know, but this is blue number 2. But look at the others. There's so many. I'm telling you, my daughter creates the files. I tell her what I'm looking for, and she kind of makes them. And we have a bunch. And you can purchase a single set of eyes, or you can purchase a whole sheet of them if you want. And you can use these on other projects. You don't have to only use it on the skunk. These aren't skunk eyes. These are blue eyes. So they have been used on many, many, many projects. Because I don't always want a new eye. If we have an eye that works, I don't see any reason to make a new one or have Ollie design something new when I have one that works. Now he is really looking like a seal or a walrus to me right now. I guess we really need that white, we need that white fur in there. I didn't notice it before, but he could be a seal right now. If you're making a seal, this is a really cute seal face before you put the white stripe on him. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball this. I'm really not gonna be too specific about it. Now, again, I cut out these eyes. They are stickers. This is a vinyl sticker, just like a decal that you would put, you know, on the back of your car, or any kind of sticker you can think of. But on felt, the adhesive of this sticker doesn't hold very well. So I cut out the eye, but I left the paper backing on there because that's what I'm going to hot glue. You cannot take the paper backing off and hot glue the vinyl. It will melt it and shrivel it up. It will destroy it, okay? So I had the paper backing is still on there. That's what I'm putting the hot glue on. The hot glue won't pull away from the felt like the adhesive that comes on this particular sticker paper, this vinyl paper that had the adhesive vinyl paper. So you have to cut them out anyway. So to me, it's not a big deal whether you put hot glue on the back, or if you were going to put them on something solid, like a piece of metal or glass or something, then you could just peel it right off and put it on like a sticker. If you're going to put it on this foam board, just do it like a sticker. You don't need to add hot glue. Peel the backing off, stick it on there. But on felt, it doesn't want to hold. So just a FYI. All right, so here's our little fur piece. Now, you'll notice on the pattern, there is an arrow on the fur pieces. It tells you what direction the fur. When I have an arrow placing this way, that means the flow of the fur needs to be going that way. So if my arrow is facing upwards, you know, north, then the fur needs to be going north, okay? If it's sideways, sideways. And if it's flat down, which is typical, like if you're doing a beard or something on a traditional, like a gnome or something, you want the fur to be facing down, right? You want it to be like an animal, you know, like that way. But because the skunk if you put it facing down, and I learned this the hard way, it covers up the eyes and the nose, and it's just kind of a nuisance. So I decided that I was going to make it to where, now remember, this nose is hanging over. So you can kind of tuck this up under there. That was kind of done like that on purpose. But I made the fur go up this way so that it doesn't cover the eyes and the nose. So here's what we're going to just glue just the very end of this. Try not to get any glue in this fur, guys. It's a mess. And we are going to get it up under there. I'm going to use a pair of scissors. And I'm going to just kind of tuck it up under this nose. Just like that, okay? Just tucked it right up in there. And then I'm going to pick this up. And add glue to the back, like that. And it's going to go all the way over to the back side, okay? That gives him like a little mohawk up here. It's going to go straight up in the air, and it's super cute. Now, it still does separate here, but it doesn't come down on top of the nose. It just might get in mixed in with the eyes a little bit, which is okay. But you can just fluff them out up here. I think it's adorable. Let's put on our little ears. Now with the ears, I don't really have a specific place where they go. Just put the first one in, and then the second one, just kind of get it as close to that as you can. Like, that's the best advice I have for putting things on like this. Just try to get it as close as you can. You know, make sure they're relatively even, just like that. And he's so cute already. I love his little face. Okay, so now we want to glue this onto this. So I'm going to put glue. I'm going to go like I'm going to be touching that felt down there, but not necessarily on top of the felt, okay? You can kind of see. There's just like, it's on the very edge of that line of felt. Because I don't want it seeping out up under his chin. And I'm going to put the little head on, kind of somewhere right in that vicinity. And we're going to clamp that. Does not want to hold because it's 3 layers thick here. Oh my goodness, hold on. All right, there we go. These clamps come in really handy. I got them at Hobby Lobby. They are just chip clips. They're in the kitchen section during the springtime when they have all the kitchen foods. I'm pretty sure they were in the barbecue section, but they're just chip clips. They're 3 inches, and they have this nice foam on the edge so they don't leave marks and things, and I really like them. So anyway, I just, in the springtime when they bring back those kitchen sections, that's where you want to look for those. Okay, leave that on there for a minute. All right, so we'll work on our little hands. Now think about it, if there's holding something, your thumbs are going to be on the top. Remember this little nub there, right? That's the top, the little nub. So we're going to put these on like right about here. You don't want to put them too close together so that they can't hold the heart. I kind of want them to appear to be holding this heart. Excuse me. So let's see if that's even here or not high enough. Right about there. So when we glue all this together, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave, hold on, let me look again. It's okay if the hands hang off just a little bit. It's no problem. Just a little bit off the edge. So we're going to leave the hands where they're at, and I'm going to glue this heart on, and then it will be easier to know where to put the hands, right? Because the heart will be in place. There. So we'll just glue that on there. Okay. And I'm going to take these off because they're kind of in the way, and I think we're good here. And these are I'm just going to make them kind of go right over the curve of the heart there. Putting some glue on it on the back. Not a lot. It's going to hang over a little, so I'm not putting glue all the way to this end over here. Okay. So the heart is in place. So now we just put on our little hands. So it looks like he's holding the heart. That was the whole point of this. Okay, so I did not put glue on this side over here because it's going to hang over just a bit. So just like that. Okay, we're going to squeeze all those. We are almost done. 2 more pieces. All right, so look at him. I think he's adorable already. Like, I love it. Okay, so this is our little piece of fur. Make sure after you cut the fur, and if you guys don't know how to cut fur, always draw your pattern on the direction it needs to go, like, right? Make sure you don't draw it backwards, okay? So it's a rookie mistake, but we've all done it, right? It's no big deal, but just think about how your pieces are going to fit together. So it needs to go this way. Draw it on the back. Use an X-Acto knife and just very lightly cut through this backing. That way you're not cutting any of the fur. And I'm going to take that little piece off. And then make sure you do this all the way around to any little furs that might, because otherwise they're just going to be everywhere and make a mess. So, but guys, use your, don't leave it on the table and do the X-Acto knife, because you're going to cut through all of this and you're going to have blunt edges. There's nothing uglier than a project like this with blunt cut edges. You want free-flowing fur. So again, just lightly go through and be mindful of where the arrow is pointing as well. Like this has the fur going up and off the tail. Upwards, you know, it's going this way. You don't want the fur headed this way. You know, just look at the arrows, and then again, make sure you cut it facing the right. When you flip it around, it's facing the right direction, okay? And then draw it on there, and just with your X-Acto, very lightly, just hold it and just cut on the line all the way around, and then just, you know, pull off any little extras that might have come off, okay? So, and then you'll have fur on everything, and you must lint roll because of blue strings. So now, right where this foot is right here, that's kind of your starting spot for right there. See, okay, let me see if I can zoom in on this little guy. So if you put it down there, the tail is coming off his foot. That's not where you want it, right? So bring it up to where it's going right into that little crease right there. Where the body and the foot meet, that's where you want the tail. That's how you know it's in the right spot. Now up here, you see how you can see the white behind? You don't want that. So holding this, just kind of pivot this in to where you don't see any of that white showing. So the only place that's really going to be glued is kind of along this bottom area, but that's okay. But you see how I did that? Once you get this in place right here, once you get the tail right inside the top where the foot meets the body right here, then this up here, as long as you pivot it in to where you don't see any of this white, that's where it goes. And it's just right under the ear up here. Oops, you can't see that. It's just kind of right under where I put the ear. It's just in the perfect place, okay? So for this one, since we can't really see where we need to glue this exactly, I'm only putting glue along the edge right here. That's it. I don't want glue seeping out of the front of my little guy here. Like, that would be awful. So I can add more glue later, but this is where I'm going to put it. Okay, so again, down here, making sure we're right in that crease right there. Up here, don't want that white showing. Pivot it in. And then go down. See? So then you have this nice... Now, I will, once this is cooled, I will go back and put more glue on the back side, not on the front side, because we're going to put this on here, so no one's going to see the front side. But I will put more glue on the back side. Let me show you on this one. I'm going to hold this. I went back and see how it's nice and glued there, but there was not, so I put glue in here so that, because the head is lifted up off of the body piece. So I just filled in this little gap right here with some globs of glue inside of there. That way there's no chance of it going anywhere. I will show you that, but it has to be cooled off. If I tried to move it right now, it's just gonna fall off. We don't want that. So you might want to have your X-Acto knife out for this next step of putting the fur on. Of course, you can use scissors as well. Anything metal that you can kind of tuck the fur in around up under here. Remember, there's no glue right here, right? Because it was on the inside of that. So we're going to kind of tuck our edge of our fur. We're going to tuck, this hand isn't touching anything under here. We're going to just kind of tuck it in all the way down. That's why we don't worry about making sure we have glue on this entire front side. Okay, this is not easy. Not, you know, the fur is very difficult to work with. You just have to constantly be combing it out of your way. Use your scissors or your X-Acto or something like that, and tuck it up under there. Get it all the way. Like you want, I'm going to use the X-Acto because it grabs it a little bit. You want these pieces, all the pieces, to be tucked up under. Even right here at the neck and down here, you want all of it to be tucked all the way against this body right here, all along the body, which means you're going to have to kind of pull it up under the head and up under the hand right here because those pieces are sticking up, right? Remember, they're a layer higher. So like that. So it's all tucked in. Everything is good. Just use your X-Acto or something to just kind of grab a hold of it and kind of push it up under there. And now we're going to pull it out again, just in one section though. We're just going to pull out this bottom part and we're going to add glue to it. And then we're going to go right back under there. And again, it should tuck right back in where it was. Okay? And then just tap it down to make sure the glue got on everything. Like I said, this is not the easy part. Working with fur is not easy, okay? So now we're going to pull it this way because we glued about halfway up the hand here. We don't have to have glue on every square centimeter, okay? I'm going to put glue all along the edge there. I'm not gluing this tail part, this part yet. So again, take it, tuck it under. Make sure it's completely tucked. You don't want to see that edge. That ugly edge of the cut fur, the backing, you don't want to see that. So use something and just keep tucking it until that is gone, hidden up underneath everything else, okay? And then just tap it all down. Now you can pull the fur away. Another trick, if you're doing something and a glob of glue falls right on your fur, don't touch it. Leave it, let it cool. If you leave a glob of glue, all you have to do is take your fingernail but say you globbed it and you touched it and you smeared. Now you've got this smear of glue across this whole section right here. You just got this smear and it looks terrible. Don't just pick up and cut bluntly. We do not want any blunt cuts. Think about when you layer your hair, ladies, if you've ever layered hair. Pick up the fur, take your scissors and just lightly go along and let the glue catch on your scissor and cut off just that one strand, not a blunt cut. You don't want to blunt. I can't express how bad a blunt cut right in the middle of your project will look. Just layer it, just very lightly. You can even use the X-Acto knife. Hold up your smeared gross piece and just like a razor, just lightly go all the way down to the end of the fur and get all those pieces of glue off, okay? Do not, please, just for the love, please. I see it all the time when people just cut the fur bluntly, and I'm just left to wonder, like, what happened there? You know, what did you do that for? So just take that extra time to cut it out in layers so that your fur is beautiful and flowing and no blunt edges, no blunt. Now, there we go. So there's his little tail. So you can see, again, take some time with that. Getting it placed perfectly might not do it on the first try. You may have to, you know, just go slowly, a little bit at a time. But you can see it once you finish and you get all that fur kind of combed out. Oh, he's so stinking cute. Look at him. He's adorable. So now, this is what I was talking about earlier. See where the head piece, this is the head, doesn't really meet this. You don't really have to do this, but I'm just going to kind of come in here with the nozzle of my glue gun and just kind of give it a little extra. Looks like this down here is the same way. I'm going to cut this little corner off. It's not fitting the way I want it to. It's a little bulkier than I want it, so I just cut it. Like there's no rules. It's on the back, remember? I'm not cutting something that's going to affect the front. I'm just cutting the back, and I just wanted this little area right there. There we go. That's it. Other than a good lint rolling, this is ready to go. I'm going to have to clamp this one because I just pulled it off. We're going to clamp that one right there. I might need to clamp. I don't know if I need to clamp that. I think that one's okay. But that's it. Isn't he cute? I think he's adorable. I think this is one of those cute little attachments that you can make for every season. It's a cute little skunk. Nice little creature to have in your arsenal. Now listen, if you are going to the Dollar Tree, if you want to put a little tiny red bows in her hair, if you want to make it a girl, you can do that. And if you want, you can add a set of eyelashes, like the human eyelashes. Dollar Tree is the best place to get those eyelashes. You're just going to use if it comes with an eyelash glue, and I haven't tried it yet because I haven't purchased any, but the eyelash glue that comes with the eyelashes, you know, sometimes you get that little teeny tiny tube. You can glue your eyelashes right here on the edge of this to make it a girl. And you could probably do other things to her to make her a girl, but a couple of bows and some eyelashes would completely transform her to a girl skunk. Doesn't always have to be a boy, right? Skunks are girls too. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this pattern. I hope you like making her. It's a couple little skill sets you may not have tried before, but I promise you they're not too difficult and I know you can do them. All right? Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.